Have you ever wondered how the prices of food can fluctuate so wildly, even when it seems like nothing much changes in the agricultural world? Or how a farm that once flourished with its harvest can end up being sold off to a corporation for a fraction of its value? It's a troubling reality that many farmers face, and the blame doesn't rest solely on unpredictable weather or market forces. More often than not, the culprit lies in the actions of large corporations that hold too much power over the agricultural industry. These companies use a variety of methods, from monopolistic practices to unfair trade deals, to exploit farmers, squeezing them out of the very industry they've been a part of for generations. The issue at hand is complex and deeply entrenched in the global economy. To understand how big companies are stealing from farmers, it's necessary to break down the various ways they manipulate the system to their advantage. We will explore how these corporations use their power to control prices, reduce the share farmers get from their hard work, and ultimately push them into situations where they lose their independence and livelihoods. How corporations set the terms. Farmers are often at the mercy of global supply chains controlled by massive corporations. While farmers work tirelessly to grow crops and raise animals, the prices they receive for their goods are set by a small number of powerful companies that control the distribution and sale of agricultural products. This power imbalance means that farmers typically have little say in the prices they receive for their goods. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, farmers' share of the food dollar has been steadily declining over the years. In 1952, farmers received 41.5% of the price consumers paid for food. By 2022, that number had dropped to just 8.6%. This means that for every dollar spent on food, only a small fraction actually makes it to the farmer. The rest is absorbed by middlemen, processors, and retailers, most of whom are controlled by large corporations. The manipulation of prices is not a new issue. Large corporations such as Monsanto, now Bayer, Cargill, and Archer Daniels Midland, ADM, have become household names in the agricultural sector, but their influence stretches far beyond the field. These companies use a range of tactics to suppress farm gate prices, including controlling supply chains, limiting access to markets, and setting unfair contract terms. The rise of corporate giants. One of the most concerning aspects of modern agriculture is the rise of corporate monopolies. In the past few decades, large corporations have consolidated the agricultural industry through mergers and acquisitions, leaving farmers with fewer options and less leverage. These monopolistic practices have created an environment where a handful of corporations control vast swaths of the agricultural market, making it nearly impossible for smaller players to compete. In the seed industry, for example, Monsanto and other biotech companies dominate the market. By patenting genetically modified GM seeds, these corporations have effectively monopolized the supply of seeds, forcing farmers to purchase their seeds year after year. In many cases, these seeds are designed in such a way that they cannot be saved and replanted, making farmers dependent on the company for a steady supply of seeds. This practice is often referred to as seed patenting, and it has had a devastating impact on farmers' autonomy. In 2018, the U.S. Department of Justice approved Bayer's $66 billion acquisition of Monsanto, cementing the company's position as one of the largest seed and pesticide manufacturers in the world. The deal significantly increased Bayer's control over the seed market, reducing competition and raising concerns about its impact on food security and farmer autonomy. According to the Center for Food Safety, the merger created a situation where just three companies, Bayer, Corteva, and ChemChina, control more than 60% of the global seed market. Monopolies are not limited to seeds. The meatpacking industry, for instance, is another example of corporate consolidation. A few companies, such as Tyson Foods, JBS, and Cargill, control the majority of meat processing and distribution in the US. These companies dominate the market to such an extent that farmers are often forced to accept whatever prices they are offered, regardless of how low they are. As a result, the farmers are unable to negotiate for fair wages or prices for their products, and many are driven into debt or forced to sell their farms. Unfair trade deals and contracts. Farmers often enter into contracts with large corporations that seem to offer a fair deal, but in reality trap them in exploitative agreements. Many of these contracts are designed in such a way that the farmer takes on all the risk while the corporation reaps the rewards. For example, in the poultry industry, farmers are often required to raise chickens for large companies under strict conditions. They may be responsible for building and maintaining their own barns, providing feed, and handling the day-to-day care of the animals. Yet, the corporation retains control over the price at which the farmer can sell the meat, leaving them with little ability to make a profit. In some cases, farmers are paid based on performance metrics, such as the weight of the animals or the speed at which they are raised. These metrics are often unrealistic, making it difficult for farmers to meet the requirements and secure a fair payment. The result is a system that drives farmers into debt while the corporations enjoy substantial profits. Additionally, large corporations often use their size and market power to negotiate trade deals that are disproportionately favorable to them. For example, multinational corporations may sign free trade agreements with countries that enable them to access cheap labor and resources, while offering little in return to farmers. These trade deals often prioritize corporate interests over the needs of local farmers, further exacerbating inequality in the agricultural sector. How farmers are driven to bankruptcy. Debt is one of the most insidious ways that big corporations exploit farmers. Many farmers rely on loans to finance their operations, but these loans often come with high interest rates and unfavorable terms. The increasing cost of land, equipment, and supplies means that farmers are taking on more debt just to stay afloat. As corporate consolidation continues and market prices for agricultural products remain low, farmers are unable to pay off their debts, leading to a cycle of financial instability. In some cases, large corporations make money off of the very loans they provide to farmers. For instance, seed companies often offer financing options to farmers purchasing GM seeds. But the interest rates on these loans can be exorbitant. As a result, farmers who are already struggling financially are pushed further into debt, and many are eventually forced to sell their farms to large agribusinesses that can afford to buy them out. This phenomenon has contributed to the rapid decline of family-owned farms across the U.S. According to the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition, U.S. farmers' debt levels have been steadily rising for years. In 2023, farm debt reached a record high of $435 billion. The growing debt burden, combined with low commodity prices and corporate control over supply chains, has left many farmers unable to recover from financial hardship. Environmental damage and exploitation of workers. The tactics used by large corporations to control agriculture are not only economically harmful to farmers, but also environmentally damaging. To maximize profits, corporations often prioritize high-yield monoculture farming practices that deplete the soil, harm biodiversity, and contribute to pollution. The widespread use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, promoted by companies like Bayer and Syngenta, has led to soil degradation, water contamination, and the decline of pollinator populations. Furthermore, many large agricultural corporations exploit migrant laborers who work under poor conditions for low wages. These workers are often subjected to unsafe working environments, long hours, and inadequate pay. The corporations benefit from cheap labor while contributing to a cycle of exploitation that disproportionately affects vulnerable populations. A call for reform. The ways in which large corporations exploit farmers are numerous, from price manipulation and monopolistic control to unfair contracts and mounting debt. As the agricultural industry continues to consolidate, farmers are left with fewer options, limited bargaining power, and a growing dependence on corporate interests. The result is a system that undermines the livelihood of farmers and threatens food security for everyone. To combat these issues, reform is necessary. This could include strengthening antitrust laws to break up monopolies in the agricultural sector, providing fairer trade deals that prioritize the needs of farmers, and implementing policies that support sustainable farming practices. Additionally, consumers have a role to play by supporting local independent farmers and advocating for greater transparency in the food system. The hidden truth is that big companies are not only stealing from farmers, they are also undermining the very foundation of the agricultural system. It's time for a change. If you found this video informative, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content. Thank you.